Now, to preface this video before somebody lanes me, um, pretty much everything that I'm going to be saying is stuff that I'm basically echoing from LGBTQ people who have, discussed this shit, either directly or indirectly with me. Um, so yeah, So basically, it's now immune from criticism. You can't disagree with what I say because I have put that disclaimer there. So thank you very much. Um, my hair, what can I? And all, I mean, for some of you, probably a lot of you actually, who come from the more, lefty pole background on my channel, you probably won't even give a shit about this video. You'll just be like, whatever. This is id pole. I don't give a shit. And that's fine. But it would ask that you leave a like, comment on the video, subscribe, put on the bell notification so you can instantly watch any Manic Meme video whenever they come out. But for some of you, you may not like this video. For some of you, you might think I'm being a real jerk. You might think I'm being a butthole. You might think I'm being a dickhead. But, that honestly, buddy, that's your problem. That's not my problem. That's your fault that you think that of me. I'm basically doing nothing wrong with this one. And I am being a bit goofy about this, but I am actually serious about all the stuff I'm saying in this video. So basically, to get down to the nitty gritty, asexual people and aromantic people, people that fall under that, spectrum, quote unquote, are not LGBTQ. And honestly, most of the defenses I see of them being that are literally the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Like, I've seen several people who defend them at... Why is my hair doing this? Why does it do this? Why is this like this? I don't fucking know. A lot of the people I see defending it, literally their go-to argument is, well, what does the A stand for and LGBTQIA plus stand for then, bitch? Do you think it stands for allies? Do you think it stands for allies? Is that what it stands for? It's like, well, I mean, why do we have to use that fucking acronym? Like, that doesn't mean anything. Because honestly, to me, having it stand for, people on the asexual, aromantic stuff is about as goofy as having it stand for allies. Because what unites, gay people, bi people, trans people, intersex people, non-binary people together is the oppression that they face for their sexuality or their gender identity, or like for intersex people, just they're like literally just the way they were born, and shit like that. But that's what binds them together is the institutional oppression that they face, and also very personal as well, because of all that stuff. Aces don't really face any of that. I have heard some like individual cases of like someone be like, oh well, my friend was correctively raped for being ace. I'm like, well, that's really fucked up, and it's shitty that happened to your friend. But that does not, I don't think there's any data on there that's saying that this is like a large, this is a fucking, what am I thinking of? Like institutionalized thing, like a thing that is common. Nor does it particularly, as far as I'm aware, have a real historical precedence like corrective raping for lesbian people has, and stuff like that. So, that, and even on a personal level, most of the time, your parents probably aren't going to disown you if you come out as ace to them. Like, I feel like at the very worst, and again, I might be wrong. You might have some stories about, oh, well, this person was fucking killed for being ace or something. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, the worst that it is, the vast majority of the time, is your parents would kind of, trivialize it. And that is a fucked up thing to do. To be like, oh, well, it's just a phase. But compared to what lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and intersex people go through, it really is, you know, that's oftentimes one of the best case scenarios for those people when they come out to their parents, depending on how their parents are and where they live. But and not to turn this into like an oppression Olympics thing, which a lot of people claim, like, oh, who is more oppressed than who? We got to figure out the fucking hierarchy and shit. It's not so much about that, although I can kind of see where you're coming from in making that claim about this. But it's less like, in specific instances who is more oppressed, and rather just on the whole, do you face this institutional or very widely spread personal bigotry and oppression? And the answer for aces is no. And so when ace people, come into or try to come into LGBT spaces, that can be kind of, especially, well, and also I did kind of forget to mention that obviously if you are, a lesbian, if you're a gay ace, or if you're a trans ace, or a non-binary ace, or an intersex ace, or whatever, then obviously you are LGBT. But if you are, a cishet ace person, then you aren't. The ace identity alone does not make you LGBT. But obviously it doesn't, like, fucking detract from anything else. What was I saying? Oh yeah. These people that are basically just straight people who don't have sex coming into LGBT spaces and talking about, the oppression that I face and stuff. It's really bad. And, like trying to impose regulations and stuff on other people discussing stuff in those spaces and be like, well, hey, could you not mention this sex stuff? It kind of makes me uncomfortable. Or other things, just whatever. And that's obnoxious as well. And that's why a lot of LGBT people have kind of pushed against ace people pretty hard recently. It's because they can kind of be that way. And also because shit like demisexuality is associated with ace people, and also like the asexual spectrum, meaning that like, sometimes I feel like having sex, sometimes I do have sex, but I'm still asexual, like that. Like demisexuality is literally like the straw man that I had of like all progressive like gender identity and sexuality stuff, that I thought when I was fucking an edgy 14-year-old. Except it's real. Like, if you don't want to have sex with someone until you have like a deep emotional connection with them, that's not a sexuality. That's just your old fashioned. Like, that's all that is, honestly. As far as I'm aware, unless there's some great epic evidence for that, but I don't think that there is really. And I mean, like, obviously you can still have had sex with people and be asexual doy, in the same way that you can have had sex with a woman and still be a gay man or something like that. But continuing to do so, even if you're like, you've come to terms with you being asexual, and also, you're like, you're out of the closet, so to speak, then I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that. But whatever. So yeah, TLDW, because I love Reddit. Ace people aren't LGBT because they aren't systematically or very widespread personally oppressed. And that is what is kind of the binding glue which, holds the LGBT community together. So, yeah, there you go.